Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another tip review, and today for you I have Kiwi Ears first ear tip. This is the Kiwi Ears Flex. Yes, we are checking out, after most of Kiwi Ears IEMs that usually are really nice, so we check out the ear tips. And first, packaging accessories. Then it's the packaging here. Yes, you can only get variety packs. Like, they don't even offer S only or M only yellow. It's always a variety pack. And it comes in this cheap packaging here. Yeah, you can see not much information at the back, and there aren't many claims about this. At least we take it sound-wise later. But yeah, this is S, M, and L, and S is 11 millimeters, M is 12, and L is 13. So very minimalistic size offering here, and I would absolutely like to see an SS with 10 millimeters. And I also don't think actually that, yeah, the L is L. Like 30 millimeters is a bit small for that. I think this is more like an ML, and they should add an L at like 13.5 or 40 millimeters, and even an XL later on at 14 or 14.5 millimeters. Because yeah, this is just a bit too minimalistic in terms of size offerings. Price-wise, yeah, it's 15 bucks for 3 pairs, and this is not cheap. I will absolutely come back later on when we talk about the comfort. This is the DD Hi-Fi ST30H5. It's cheaper, and it comes with a carrying case, while this one comes in this cheap packaging here. Even worse when we now take a comfort. Just see how similar these two tips look. They do feel very similar in terms of how smooth they are. They do look pretty similar in terms of material thickness. The ST35 might actually be a tiny bit thicker even. And also the SpinFit clone that they are going for is both pretty similar. The major difference between those two is that this one has a slightly bigger outlet with a wax guard here, while this one does not. But both go for the SpinFit clone mechanism. And in terms of comfort, I'm sorry, I just don't think the Flex is a good contender here. Let me quickly flop it around so you can see what I mean. So flip the ST35 around. Come on, ST35, flip. Okay, so start with the Flex. You can see they also have this SpinFit thingy going on here, where it theoretically could bend along these lines, so conforms to ear a bit better. But what you can't really see, I need way more force in order to bend it here. The ST35 here, just a tiny bit of force here and it will bend. This one needs way more force to actually be bent. And also, what is kind of strange, this one has a smaller ring around the outlet, which you can see here directly in comparison to the ST35. Where you can see this one bends less upward, and yeah, there's more resistance going on at the front because there's a thicker ring here. I still think this is less comfortable in terms of overall how it sits in your ear. I'm pretty sure the wax guard is responsible for it because it, yeah, prevents it from bending as well as this one would. So yeah, really, unfortunately, I can't say much positive about this. It takes too much energy to be bent, and yeah, the wax guard doesn't really help the front nozzle as well. So absolutely, if it comes to SpinFit clones, I would take the ST35 over the Flex here. And just as reference, this would be the CP360. Let me quickly flip this around, so you can also see how this original SpinFit would look on the inside. You can also see here, this has a bit bigger bending on the inside, so it just twists way easier here. And it also has a smaller lip around the outlet, so making this even more squishy than these two. So just for reference, right? And then noise isolation, as I said before, yeah, this is a rather thin material, and also the ring around the outlet here is not so thick. So overall, I think this is not a strong contender here. The ST35 is, I think, doing slightly better here, but only slightly. And that means this is at best average isolating silicon tip. I would give it a 5 out of 10 in terms of artificial isolation scale. And next, shaping sound. As usual, first I talk about subjective impressions and then objective. And this is one of those cases where, let me really stress, my first impressions or my subjective has been written before I measure this. And there can be variations or deviations from subjective to objective. And this is one of those tips where it will be the case. There will be a difference here. And it means, subjectively, I had the feeling this was dampening mid to upper treble slightly. I think by like 3 decibels or so at like, let's say 6 to 8K and above. And I also had the feeling for one of the few tips where I thought, dynamics might be actually a bit worse. And I tried this for a few IEMs, definitely for a few dozen songs, and somehow my impression persisted. And one of the few claims that they have about this tip is that it does amplify low-end frequencies. And subjectively, I have to say, I could not perceive this. Bass was basically exactly the same through everything I used it here. So yeah, that's subjective. Objective though, it's again, let me stress, my subjective impressions is what I hear before I measure this. When I measure this, and we can see that there is a light reduction in treble, but ever so lightly only compared to bright tips. Like for instance, the liquid silicone ones, the original ones, that is definitely a bit brighter. But compared to my reference tips, there's not really a reduction going on. Like you could even say it's a bit brighter than my reference tips. And with this wax guard, but this rare thick here, that really surprises me. Even today, I'm like, how's this possible? But I guess this is well engineered, so most of the sound is still coming through, question mark. So yeah, meaning there is not really going to be less treble energy here. The only thing that is strange is this, I want to call it stepping effect between 3 and 4K, easily visible on the quintet and the AJ07M measurements without the pinner. In the pinner, it's only well visible for the AJ07M. But this is a very interesting effect here, where it reduces, I think, 3.7K or so, like really with a step, and then after that, it continues. So if the wax guard does block anything, I assume it's this frequency, because yeah, I can measure it in the AJ07M and the quintet in the same region. Again, only without the pinner for the quintet, but it is visible here. So I guess if there's anything objectively happening with this tip, it's a reduction between 4.5 and 4K here compared to my reference or to medium wide outlet tips here. And that brings me to additional factors, and there are many additional factors to talk about this tip here. As you can see, there's this random silicone. It feels very smooth, so it's very easy to clean. And yeah, it also should fit most nozzles here. I easily fit this on my AJ07M, which is 6.4 millimeters. So you really shouldn't have any issue at all. And yeah, cleaning, soap, alcohol, warm water, hot water, whatever, it should be fine. The only thing that I want to mention here is the wax guard in the front. Yeah, if you are a bit paranoid about wax, this could be a solution for you, because other tips, like for instance here the SD35 or another pair of SpinFit that I have here, the Omni, they just don't have a wax guard. So if you want something with a wax guard and you could sacrifice comfort for it, well, this could be an option for you. And that brings me to the conclusion here. Yeah, this with a SpinFit clone and with Kiwi Ears history, I have to confess I expected a bit more of this tip overall. It doesn't say it's a bad tip, but compared to other tips, it's a bit worse. It is definitively worse than the SD35 here. And it's more expensive than the SD35 and comes without a carrying case. And the actually SpinFit mechanism is not that well implemented. So at today's market, I just don't see a reason why you should buy this. Especially considering the $5 per pair price tag. SD35 again is cheaper and it's better, so I just think this is not really competitive at the moment. Again, if you like the wax guard or you want a wax guard on a tip that has a light SpinFit mechanism here, yeah, this is a solution for you. Probably only one at the moment, but really, I would really recommend the SD35 over this, especially because its shape is so similar as you can see here, and it just bends a bit better and yeah, stays a bit better in your ear, at least in my ear here. So yeah, unfortunately I cannot recommend the Flex, but it's not a bad tip overall, as I said. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Questions, tip recommendations, or criticisms, please leave a comment. Donspektor out.